All right. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Happy April. I hope everyone had a fantastic Easter and April Fools. Back to back, right? And I love the music in this. We'll get into it. I don't know what that is. Has that always been there? Windy Meadow. Oh, it's another game. Okay, that's cool. All right, so we had just come from Creeks. We've gone through the Eastern Road. We're in that cabin. We dealt with that spider. We got a little hurt. We dealt with the wolves that chased us, and they should be cleared out by now, I think. We got to the abandoned watchtower, which we couldn't interact with. The door was just too much to deal with for how injured. Well, not injured, I guess. It's not like it's impeding me, but I wasn't strong enough to actually deal with the door. We talked to the sorceress. She gave me a quest, said I couldn't stay there. We could not go further into the forest, so we had to go past some goblins and a fallen tree. And now we are back at Pelt of the North. We are hopefully going to be able to sleep here, and the scavenger should have some compensation for us for helping him. So, the open windows fill the hall with refreshing air and the sounds of a conversation. The innkeeper is dusting the counter and the shelves with a cloth. The scavenger is sitting on a stool using his knife to turn a log of wood into a new cup. I approach the scavenger. Aye, Roadster, need anything? I came from my... Well, be nice first. Enjoying your stay? It's not bad here. Not bad at all. They bought what I could sell. But the hunters want my entire pouch for getting me south. We've agreed to a lower price, but they won't just drop whatever it is they're doing to escort me. I don't care. I'll wait for a couple of days, do some chores for the innkeep, rest from the forest. Once the hunters are done with their plans, we'll move out. He scratches his cheek and beard and finally says, but I do feel like I've eaten a troll shit. When I landed here, I had my pile of bundles and trinkets, and now I'm starting with nothing. Again. I should have listened to the warnings. This land belongs to no man. I came for my reward. And ye shall have it. Ye saved my life, or what's left of it. And if I could give you more, I would. But I need to pay the innkeep for bombs on my damn arm. You see? So here's as much as we said. 5 dragons. I smile and put the dragons in my pouch. Happy to help. So anything else bothering you? Bothering ye? Maybe you'll tell me about the ruined village. I feel like when I asked before, you didn't trust me. Do you have any idea what happened to the ruined village? Well, I won't guess, but I saw many ruins. There's no treasure and skeletons there, so that place means as much as dirt. Someone was barking too loud, so the beast broke through and made them quiet again. He clicks his tongue. And that's that. Talking about nature's fury brings bad luck, don't you know? Alright. I take another look at the main hall. I go to the innkeeper. So, you again. Need anything? Any leftovers? Yep, you're lucky. I was planning to give it to the boar. He goes to the stove and in a couple minutes prepares you a meal. Here. You see fresh rye bread and an old green beer with an intense smell of yeast. While you're eating, he asks if you need anything else. Cool. I am full. We're gonna sleep. We're gonna rent a room, hopefully get cleaned up. A comfy bed with a clean blanket in an isolated chamber. You also get a large breakfast, a wash tub with water and soap, and some clothes to wash your teeth. I'd like to see if I can make it back to that watchtower, actually, and open it up. It's a calm, warm night. As your first sleep ends, you stretch out and prepare yourself for an active hour or two. It's time to take care of some things that must be done at least once every few days, though they're a bit more challenging than your nightly routine. It's time for my training. I practice cuts, stances, dodges, and steps, but also inspect every blade I own, with just one. The small room is quiet and far away from unwanted eyes. You take a calm bath, rest on a soft mattress, look through the window, and enjoy the minutes of safety. In the morning, you find a stool with a large wooden plate bearing an aromatic breakfast, a raw cabbage head, a smoked quail wing, and a cup of yogurt. Downstairs, the innkeeper is putting firewood into the stove. He asks if you need anything. He's going to ask questions. Let's see. Archive. No, I want journal. Okay. I wonder if he's interacted with Ephraim or Elah. I should ask about that. When the people of Creek send a trading band to us, it's with Ephraim in the front. He's not so much of a fighter as he is a pathfinder, but he's killed enough beasts that I invited him to be our ranger. Too bad he loves his home too much, he says with the tone of someone who describes a completely alien experience. Unlike his brother, Elah, he's a man of action, not of layered schemes. Hey, thanks for the follow. Let's see, I want to ask about Elah. He ain't like his brother Ephraim. He doesn't fight and was here only once, simply to introduce himself to me. Elah may be only 20-something, but he carries a soul twice his age, and that's a good thing. You know, in Creeks, there are either elders or kids. They lack those who would put together plans for the years to come. That's a big burden to carry in a village where every adult has a right to vote, but most of them don't care about anything that won't land in their bowls or beds. Okay, well, I mean, it's not a lot of information, but... Alright, well, we got 15 hours, day 5. We got 35 days left. That's all I need. Let's travel. So it takes 2 hours, 3 hours. Yeah, let's actually quick save in case we meet some issues on the road, and then we will travel to the abandoned watchtower. Let's see if we can open up that door now. Nothing impeded me on the road, so that's good. The watchtower is blending with the wilderness slowly. For a moment, you think the gate's position has changed since your last visit, but once you get closer, you're sure there are no fresh tracks. I look for the tracks I saw near the fallen tree. The tracks led here, through the narrow gate, then west. The hard heels are especially noticeable. Okay. I approach the entrance. The door is locked. Without destroying the door, it doesn't look like you can get inside, and after breaking through, you're going to make it much easier for potential predators to get inside. I take my axe and break through. You start chopping the door in a spot where 2 planks are connected to one another. It takes a bit of time and some precision, especially since you struggle to find the right angle to take a swing. Finally, the wood cracks. When you push it, it lets out the dizzy creaking of rusty hinges. An empty table stands in the middle of a large round room filled with dusty furniture. Without the open door, you'd struggle to see anything. You wait to be sure that nothing tries to jump on you, and finally hide your weapon. I need to remember to sharpen it later on. First thing you notice is that the room isn't high, and just like the windows suggested, there's a second floor above it. The scent sparks an image of a cellar, humid, but without much mustiness. Tree stumps, used as stools, surround a round table in the center, now covered in dust. The shelves are empty, with no tools left behind, and you see a couple of dishes laying in various spots. Empty, sticky. The bugs are crawling both on the furniture and near the walls. Spiders, roaches, worms. You think about taking a look into one of the casks, but the smell coming from it makes you change your plans. Instead, you climb up the ladder. The view there isn't much different. The floor is covered with pieces of trash, dirty furniture, and sleeping pallets, which are moist, smelly, and full of wriggling and chirping creatures. It gives me shivers. I try not to look at them. You climb down. Haas is looking at the grass outside, still touched by sunlight. You approach the windows, each one locked with 2 heavy wooden bars. Opening them would not be a problem, but knocking them down from the outside won't be an easy task. You sigh with relief. It's a safe place. If I need to figure out something to get rid of the bugs, I can leave a bronze rod on the roof. You climb up the ladder and push the trapdoor with one hand. The planks are thick, and as they fall down under their own weight, they make a loud thud. You find a crack between 2 of the bricks and use the rod to widen it a bit. You push it halfway in and fill the gaps with a linen cloth. You move it a couple of times just to be sure it won't detach. You wonder if it's going to lure any lightning. Hi. Jenkins just woke up from his nap. I climb down. Okay, you're at the ground floor of the watchtower. Dozens of little creatures run away from the new source of light. So, we have to find something to deal with the bugs and pests. Go outside. Take a look at the signpost. Okay, same thing. Nothing's changed with the signpost. So now we travel. Well, I don't think we're ready to deal with the woodland edge. I don't know that we want to... How long is that going to take? 5 hours? What time is it? It would take almost half of what we have left. Yeah, we don't need to go to creeks today. So let's go back to... Let's go back to Howler's Dell. And we can do some exploring from there. You approach the opening gate and then swiftly dismount. A guard approaches you, ready to take your mount to a stable. Hello, stranger. What news do you bring? That's going to take time, isn't it? Let's see. We gossip for a bit. 15 minutes. Even though Hallersdale is a large village, the life here is slow. The curious locals gather around to take part in conversation. Recently, a massive beast has tried to make a lair among the hemp fields. It may be the time to perform a night watch. I enter the village. You spend a few minutes with Haas, but before you reach the square, someone clears their throat. You turn toward a man in his 50s, with large hands, an elegant beard, and no hair. The stable master. He both introduces himself and answers an unspoken question. You frown, then realize that you indeed saw him before, and your palfrey was nicely taken care of during your first visit to the village. Or, rather, I'm one when 'tis necessary. But I'd rather grind flour, he says with annoyance. You don't think your beast waters itself, brings itself fodder from a storehouse, and cleans its own shit, no? Takes time, and hey, if 'tis, he points at your companion, is not going to work for it, you better have a pouch at hand. You look behind you. The stables are not much more than an open shed with piles of planks, 2 donkeys, and a bunch of napping chickens. Would a dragon bone be enough? He nods. For one day. Aye, that's fair. He looks around, rubbing his hands together. How much do I have? Hang on. How many dragon bones? 6. Getting low. Here you go. He nods with gratitude and throws the bone into a leaky bucket hanging from a nail, then grabs a wooden pitchfork. I let him work in peace. You're wandering through the village. A group of children covered in mud gathers by your mount and argues loudly about what's better, horses or donkeys. A field worker walks by you, coughing loudly as he tries to open his water skin. Okay, so we need to find the mayor. I go to the main square. You approach the inn. The stools and benches are filled. People share meals, news, and plans for later. The air is lively and filled with soothing routine. The innkeeper is walking among the tables cheerfully, taking care of empty bowls and plates, or bringing new servings from inside the building. Thais is nowhere to be seen. The stall is in perfect order, but draws little of the locals' attention. The trader walks around, gossiping. Whenever someone approaches the counter, he moves back quickly. I ask a guard to look for the mayor. Thais spares you but a harsh glance, yes? Do you know Eudosha, the enchantress? I'd like to hang this rod on a wash tower for her. You let her weigh a rod in her hand. It's empty, she says. What is it for? Ooh, this could be interesting. It's a quick save. I don't want to lie about it, but I also want her to just let me do it. It's meant to help her golems cover longer distances without going crazy. Yeah, I figured. She gives you a long look, then rolls the piece of bronze back to you. The answer is no, and if any of us find such a rod in our woods, you and I are going to have a talk. I have no desire to wake up in the middle of the night surrounded by your stone army. Lame. Okay, well, I'm actually going to see what the other options do. Lie. I don't know. Some sort of magic, I assume. Well, that's a lot of trust you want me to invest into something that may give me nothing in return. I don't know, traveler. Not only do you want me to trust you, but also a crazy witch. She spends a few long breaths in silence, rolling the piece of bronze on the table. I wait for a decision. Oh. Okay. So I assume the other one, since it's random chance, she might trust that it's just a weather vane, basically. But I can always just make her trust me. Alright. Thank you for your time. Let's go to the priests. You head south of the dead tree in the main square. Before you get to the second thatched building, a large man stands up from a bench and gets into your way. He's close to 50, taller than most people you've seen in your life, broad-shouldered. His hair and short beard are brown, matching his elegant woolen robe. A thick club is attached to his right wrist with a leather strap. He left his sandals by his sitting spot. Many want to speak with our guides and teachers, he speaks with a solemn, strong voice. But you're not welcome here. Turn back, stranger. I'm your new Roadwarden. Are you sure that no soul here needs my assistance? His harsh look softens. We can handle ourselves. If that changes, Elpis will summon you. Can I know why? You can. He swings his polished heavy weapon. You're from the outside, and cannot be trusted. The boors and slaves of the United Church would crush us if they had a chance. Before we allow you to spy on us, we need to be sure 'tis worth it. I'm not a spy. I do not believe you. So be it. I turn back. Okay, well, go to the tailor. You follow the guard's directions and reach the whitewashed building standing on the western bank, next to a small garden of flowers and herbs. It's well kept and clean, with a plain, beaten front yard, in parts covered with sand. Through the open windows, you catch a glance of the furniture, made of smooth, almost shiny wood with hints of dark, cherry-like red, decorated with carvings of plants. A woman in her 40s is sitting on a wooden bench. The table is covered with fabrics, threads, and needles made of bone and iron. She's sewing a long sleeve to what's going to become a blue tunic. Her movements are quick and confident. Her brown, wavy, shoulder-length hair is tied into a wreath-like braid. But other than that, her clothes are simple and inconspicuous. She doesn't have a left leg, but you don't notice any cane. You observe her for a few moments until, without sparing you so much as a glance, she encourages you to speak with a grunt. I'm looking for a tailor. You found one. Her voice is low, and she doesn't stop her work. Name's Bayan. Could you answer a couple of questions? The boredom in her voice is palpable. I'm not a bard. My gambeson needs some work. You take it off and point at a few abrasions. The woman follows your finger patiently. I take from 2 to 5 dragon rings for fixing jackets, but you will not get anything more from this one. To get it truly stronger for longer, I need it to be made of better materials like spider silk. I actually have some spider silk with me. Would you like to buy it? You show her the wrapped stick, and without asking, she takes one of the shorter threads and starts to stretch it. She nods. I do. What do you want? The dragon rings or a better jacket? You ask her for the details, and she loses more of her patience with every breath. 10 rings for the thread. Or, give me 2 hours now, and I'll put some of it here. She vaguely points at bits of your gambeson to make it stronger and easier to wear. 10 dragon rings. Or better armor. That's a lot of coins, and I can really use it. But I don't think I'm going to get another chance to strengthen my armor. Strengthen my armor, please. You spend the time brushing and watering Haas, practicing combat moves and stances with your axe, and washing your hands, face, and neck. Near the end of the hour, you return to the tailor and sit down on a stump, relaxing to the sounds of Howler's Creek. She asks you to come closer and points at the spots where the seams were ripped and replaced with spider silk, which is much lighter than the old thread. It will not get stronger than this unless you cover it with a troll hide or something. Sounds like we're going hunting trolls. Alright, good luck. You're wandering through the village. On the islet in the center of the village, an old woman is telling a group of children a story about the lethal shouts of howlers. A couple of older people are gossiping with excitement while they grind grains with millstones. It's weird that it's still highlighted. Alright, we travel. Okay, so we can't make it back here. I do like that they gray stuff out if you can't make it. So let's go... What time is it? We have 4 hours. I don't want to travel too far then. Let's just go west from here, see what we find. The path gets greener and meanders between treacherous precipices. You ride slowly, passing by birds and ibixes, but in the distance you spot circling harpies, and below you, a roaming mountain cat pursuing a mouflon. You take a sip from your water skin. The air here is a bit dry. Let's hope that the echo of hooves won't reach any larger beasts. The path leads you down again to a small, moist valley, impenetrable for a rider. The thicket is made of thorny shrubs, tall grasses, and the weak, fallen boughs that nourish mosses and mushrooms. You examine the remnants of the path covered with greenish puddles. Without the roots, and with a fresh layer of pebbles, it may still be restored. You look behind you. The road is clear, no ambushes so far. But if you hope to clear this place, it'd be better to do so soon, and only get denser with the passage of days. Shoot. Well, I'm nourished. It's probably going to make me dirty and take some vitality, I'm assuming. I'm not afraid of getting tired. I'll get this done in half the time. Yeah. Really? I lost armor from that? That's not cool, actually. I assumed those, but I don't... Yeah. I don't want to lose armor. I'm okay to wait the time then. I don't like cheesing that, but I just wasted 10 copper to not have my armor be terrible. So okay, I should be done in 2 hours or so. Yeah, okay, that looks better. Your muscles, not used to such tiring work, grow tired quickly, so you take a few short breaks, avoiding the thorns and dirty water. When it comes to pushing aside the bows, you breathe heavily, but you need only enough space to let your palfrey get through. Maybe the animals will start to roam this place again, beating the path. Let's see. You reach a convenient mountain pass with crags smoothed out by centuries of rain and wind. The sun warms up both the vegetation and the beaten road, and the only beasts you spot are loud rooks glancing at you from the rocks and branches. Clearing the rock slide would take hours of work and a large group of people, while forcing Haas to climb up and down would break its legs. We need to go back. Yeah, it's like literally an hour. Alright, well, we'll have to come back. Alright, I go to the main square. It's getting dark, and the inn is loud and crowded. The innkeeper lights up the rushlights, the workers drink, and the guards are preparing for the night watch. If it wasn't for the presence of the creek and the uncanny lack of beggars, this place would feel like Hovlevin's marketplace. One of the tables is occupied by a dozen or so kids. None of them looks older than 12, and the youngest one, too dirty to resemble either a boy or a girl, is about 6. They are surrounded by their playthings, a mouflon on wheels, an elegant wooden sword, and a painted board covered with rocks, but they are bored and tired. Even though you only get a glimpse of them, the oldest girl notices your attention. She springs up to her feet and approaches you with a few skips. She's already pretty tall, dressed in a warm, subdued tunic, so long that it looks like a sack. It would be rude to ignore her. I smile and ask what she needs. She puts her hands together and puts on a grimace of playful misery. Master Roadwarden, hearing such an antiquated salutation, it makes it difficult for you to hide your smirk. We hear. She points at her group, bored, oh so bored. She puts the back of her hand on her forehead, letting out a deep sigh. Please, master, tell us a story or two, for each traveler sees with different eyes. The last few words sound like an echo of an old tale. Fine, make room for me at the table. The children gather around and ask you for a minute for them to gather their friends and siblings. After a bit of chaos, there's 20 young souls sitting closely to one another, on benches, stools, and on the ground. The red-haired twins brought a blanket to lay down on. You have a shorter side of the table all to yourself. The older kids understand your lost look in an instant. They start to hush each other, which causes an even greater amount of noise. But in the end, there are dozens of eyes staring at you with a mixture of boredom and anticipation. I tell them about one of my adventures. Oh, shall I? Nah. Sure, let's be honest about it. I tell them about one of my adventures, exactly as it happened. The story takes quite a bit of time, and at one point gets a bit cruel. The youngest kid covers their eyes, which doesn't block their hearing in any way. As you get to the end, the older ones thank you for your time, while the young ones nod politely and smile. You admit to yourself that the part when you described your visit at the end wasn't very exciting. The battle was much more fun. You stand up and the children do the same to show their respect. The girl that had previously talked with you thanks you for your time. It was my pleasure. I return to my tasks. I approach Eric's, the innkeeper. Eric's also approaches the counter, welcoming you with a wide smile. Well, let's ask about the hunters before we get the room. I'm looking for a few hunters. Admon, Dahlia, Michelle. He rubs his neck and looks at the clouds. I recognize those names, but I've seen no folks from creeks in a long time. They come here before and after the winter to trade for grains. Oh, so no rumors, but maybe you've heard about someone who may need my help? You say it as if we expect travelers to get here any day now. I'll ask around. Come tomorrow. I could use a room. Sure thing, he nods. My kids keep it cleaner than you'd find in the city. Just tell me when you're ready. Thanks. Okay, sleep. Oh boy. Well, we gotta spend it. It's more expensive. Your own room with a comfy bed, a locked door, and a lot of space. You also get a large breakfast, a wash tub with water and soap, and cleaning for your shoes and underwear. Rent. Yeah, we're down to, I think, 3 coins now. We gotta actually do some jobs. As you prepare your belongings, you realize that the days are getting noticeably shorter. The closer you get to autumn, the less time you'll have before the beasts of the night leave their lairs. For now, it won't be that bad, but I better make sure to not waste too many hours. I say as I waste, like, all day just traveling around. Your first sleep ends, but your usual 1-hour break is instantly disrupted by noise. You stand up, walk to the window, and see the reason for the commotion. A group of workers is just outside the inn, drinking and laughing. Eric's the innkeeper is also among them. You could join them, but if you do so, you won't get a good sleep tonight, and after such a long day, you may end up exhausted. Oh. Man, that's actually a tough decision. Maybe they might trust me more. It's an opportunity to show them that I'm not an outsider. I can sacrifice a bit of sleep. Of course. You lose track of time, surrounded by the smells of old ale and cold roast lamb. The excuse for having the celebration is the recent birth, the very same that was occurring when you arrived at the village. The young mother is exhausted and is the first one to leave, but more than 10 people stay, poking at her partner with kind-hearted jokes. "Use the next week the best you can," says one of them. "Never sleep for you after that." You may be a stranger, but your presence is welcomed with joy. The small talk is just as engaging as you'd expect for people who have already slept for 3 to 4 hours today, but there's something pleasant about them sharing their parenthood stories and plans for the future. The humming of Howler's Creek and the lights in the dark make you feel as if you belong here. And that's a delightful illusion, especially in a group of strangers. At one point, you're asked about your own journeys, though you prefer to keep most of them to yourself. One of the hunters encouraged you strongly to travel to creeks. They're a fun bunch, you see. They love to meet new people, but be ready to wake up with a spinning head. I'm one of the first people to get back to bed. Hopefully, we actually get some stuff. Okay. Well, at least we get vitality back. You spend the night in peace, in a clean bed, with a tightly shut window and a warm blanket. In the morning, you find a stool placed by your bed, covered with baked artichokes, with a weird but tasty roasted lizard, and a few slices of cheese. Once you get dressed and go downstairs, a young boy, who's covered in mud and speaks unusually loud and enthusiastically, mentions that Haas has already been brushed and watered. You nod, but he runs outside without noticing it. The innkeeper is sitting near the door, from time to time carrying out another bowl with either stew or gruel. Thais is nowhere to be seen. Alright, what do we even have? Do we have anything to trade? Maybe you might know what's in this bottle. Be nice to ask about the arrow. I didn't even think about that. I don't think there's anything else I can really part with. The trader's not around. I sit at a table and wait for him. How long does that take? 2 hours and 45 minutes. Okay. You hear a strong voice. "Waiting for me? Just a minute. I usually start a bit later." The man walks by you and goes behind the counter, where he starts to unpack and inspect his wares. When he looks into a sack of white flour, you hear his mumbling and occasional cursing. He gestures for you to step closer and points at a little dark blue insect that's trying to flee. "Weevils. Shit be fire. 'Twas ground a few days ago. And a pie's for us tomorrow, looks like." He puts the sack on the ground. "I'll take care of it later. A Roadwarden, eh? Even the mayor cared enough to see you, and kids are lining up to look at your horse. Strangers are like ghosts to them now." He's wearing a simple brown robe with no hood, a rope instead of a belt, and modest trim made of green thread. It barely reaches below his knees, revealing his sandals and crude pants made of linen. At the same time, it's way too large for him and hangs from him like a bag. He looks like a poor vendor from Havloven. He stands sideways to you with legs crossed, leaning on the counter with one hand and keeping the other one on his hip. He's almost 40, short and a bit greasy, with a humble beard and hair. His fingers are unusually long. Wow. Well, let's be friendly. You're a trader, I assume. I guess we'll see each other often. For you, a trader. For my neighbors, the treasurer. Name's Akakios? I can't. Akakios? Everyone brings here what they have in abundance, and I either sell it to travelers or divide it among the workers, builders, artisans. These things here are not mine. He runs his eyes over the crates and barrels. But I can show you our wares if you want. But do not ask for better prices just because you're a traveler. I need to explain myself for every deal I make, or Thais will laugh at me all the way to the pyre. What can you tell me about Asterion? Even though he was here more than once, he did not leave much behind. Smelly hoarder. He looks around and spits on the ground. At least he bought a blade from me. Do you remember what blade it was? Sure, just a special one. A sickle sword, with a tip wider than it was at the grip. Long as from the fingertips to shoulder. Not a sword, not a knife. Single-edged. Brought his own steel to melt for it. What's it good for? Fencing? More for cutting bushes, creepers, roots. It will not fell a tree, but 'tis a fine tool. He nods to a passerby, but his smile disappears as quickly as it had shown up. Pathfinders use it. My pa used to have one as well. He chopped nuts with it. Nuts and mouflons. So he took it to the wilderness. Oh. He shrugs. Pretty much anywhere. There are hills from here to the coast, and bogs in the north, and the hearts of the woods. Can he help you with it? Do you need any help? I could use a job. Know what? There's something urgent. I need a medicament for my daughter. Not that she's hurt or anything. He raises his open palms, as to show that he's not holding a knife. She's a teen, wants to start hunting in the woods. I cannot teach her much, but I'd sleep better with her having a healing potion. You have, he hesitates, almost 4 days. Bring me the potion before the last dusk, and I'll pay you 5 dragon's rings. And where can I find such a potion? I can think of 2 places. The safer bet is beyond Old Pagos, on the mountain of the crazy monks. Crazy and boring, more boring than a mouflon, but they often brew with Numa. You can also head south, east of the crossroads, behind Belt of the North. I've never been there myself, but you'll find a dolmen there, as old as the city, and this, he reaches for his clinking pouch and pulls out a massive iron key, is meant to open some secret passage there. How do you know about that secret? From a merchant. She's from south of Hag Hills. I was meant to pass the key to her friend, but he never showed up. And you've just been keeping this key at your side ever since? I kept it with my trinkets and coins, that's all. We were planning to go there for years, but 'tis one of those things that you talk about, never do it. His brief laugh turns into a cough. A strong elixir would be worth more than 5 coins. Well now, 'tis all I can pay, he spreads his arms. I do not sculpt you stupid. The dragons I get here belong to the village. 5 is fair pay, and I'll mention to all the neighbors how helpful you are. He takes a deep breath and adjusts his robe, still sweating. I think I already have it. Fine, I'll look for it. Good, he smiles. Anything else? I'm pretty sure that's what I have. About the potion. Did you get it? Right here. With a grin, he picks up the bottle gently, jiggles it, weighs it in his hand, then puts it on the counter. Great. Now let's hope my little girl will not get herself swallowed by a dragon. So, we said 5 rings. It's yours. He smiles and looks for the coins in a large pouch. Thanks, O bringer of good news. I take my reward. Rude, we were just talking. Not getting any younger here. I bring goods to sell. Oh, I don't want to sell a rod. Get it, okay. I don't need furniture or barrels of food. Do you have anything of use for a traveler? 'Tis hard to say, what do travelers need? He clears his throat and turns away to have a look at his store. While some of the crates and barrels are empty, they carry an assortment of odds and ends. Tools made of wood and stone, pots, mugs, seeds, vegetables, fabric. It takes him a few minutes to look through the wares. He puts 3 packages on the countertop, and as he unwraps the first one, you recognize what it is by the shape alone. Tell me this is not a beauty. He chuckles and lets you hold the shiny battle axe. The haft is long, but the head is light. I know what you're thinking. Your eyes say everything. He praises the weapon loudly, but you barely listen to him. You see your reflection in the unused blade, as sharp as they get. You're not a smith, but you see not a spot of rust. When you take a swing, it takes hardly any effort. The leather straps holding the pieces together are just a decoration, and the handle is as smooth as glass and perfectly fits into your hand. The man chuckles. You like it, eh? Now, I doubt you can afford it, but do not worry. That's not all I have. Okay, I look at the rest of his stuff. His long fingers tap against the parchment windows of a lantern. Its frame is cheap, made of oak. 'Tis glued, and 'tis quiet, he says while shaking it in the air. Not as fancy as the iron ones with oil, but you can carry it in caves without luring all the corpse eaters and goblins. Perfect for a traveler, just take a look. Inside the lantern, you find a place for a candle. Not a great match for people living in wooden houses. Hide and glue are not easy to make, but I will not ask for more than 4 rings. The last sack is as wide as a saddle and 3 hands tall. It contains a whole bunch of undyed linen sheets. We usually keep them for traders, but we could use a few dragon rings, and who knows if they're ever going to be in a next caravan. He gives you a long look. Interested? Depends on what you want for it. 15? Oh, I should have taken the money. I gotta get better access to better armor. Good. So I'm pretty sure I don't know how far this goes back. Yeah. I talked to Ephraim and Ela about a lantern. I think he said he could make one, but to come back later. Oh yeah, I should have kept notes. I actually didn't know I could do that. I mean, it makes sense. Like, there's a lot going on. So, alright, well, I'm not gonna get anything from him. Being bothered by the howlers. Anything to plug my ears? And you cannot just avoid them, I guess, with a raised eyebrow. He reaches for a yellow candle and plays with it in his long fingers. You know they eat plants, not meat? Should not be too dangerous for a warden with a mount. Lend me your axe. He cuts off a few chunks of wax, removes the wick, and gives them to you. Here, roll these in your hand, warm them up, make a shape you want. Okay, cool. Don't charge me for it or anything. Nothing for now, I'll walk away. Alright, I leave the square and travel. So let's go back to the rock slide. Hi. The rock slide has made the path impassable. You're startled by the sight of animal scales, but you realize it's just a basking green snake. Soon it vanishes among the rocks. I dismount and look around. You climb up the rocks, having plenty of spots to rest your hands. Most of them won't move even an inch. As you get closer to the small dead tree, you notice something odd among the stones. Pieces of old fabric, completely covered with mold, most like the remains of a tunic. Oh. Well, that's kind of lame, honestly. So we can't do anything here. Let's see what's west this way. You cross a clean, shallow, yet wide creek that runs south. Then follow the uphill path squeezed between the hills and the lush forest. You spend a good couple of minutes passing a haunting meadow filled with dozens, maybe 100 cut-down trees, now overgrown by bushes and grass. You can't think of another time when you've seen a clearing of such a size. Seems dangerous. If this goes on, the animals will join forces to strike down whoever is responsible for this. Once the clearing ends and turns into a corridor of trees and hills, you stop your horse. There's a monster in the middle of the road, reaching out with its long arms to grab and devour fruits and leaves from tree crowns, chewing them without haste. It's standing on its hind legs and leaning on a thick tail. As there isn't much hair on its gray skin, you see its impressive muscles. The beast is 3 times the size of a human, and while each move it makes is slow, its long claws and the ease with which it breaks one of the branches make you think that a single swing would be enough for it to pierce through your jacket, or, just as likely, that it would simply break your bones and send you into the air. Like most people, you know quite a bit about pebblers. Once they get used to an unfenced farm or forest garden, getting rid of them can be a huge issue. There aren't many blades able to cut through their thick skin and bones, and a single mistake may put them into a furious charge, encouraging them to look for human dwellings which they can tear down in revenge. The beast doesn't give you as much as a glance, but also doesn't move away. The best you can hope for is that it's going to walk away on its own. Maybe tomorrow, maybe later. Facing it in a fight would end up badly. I return to the crossroads. Okay. Well. Let's go east, I guess farther into the woods. The corridor of leaves and gray rocks leads you to a gate, large enough for a wagon, held together by a wooden bar. The planks and rocks are covered with claw marks left by various monsters, though they weren't able to damage the wall as much as the passage of time and the piercing rains. A large man, covered in shadows, is observing you from the roof tower. His voice is hoarse, distrustful. "Ye lost? I don't know ye mug." "I'm Dane, the new Roadwarden, and you're the gatekeeper, I assume." "Well, yeah, just on duty, and armed, so ye know." He lifts a loaded crossbow and sticks it out of the shadows. "But I'm no enemy of yours." He leaves the tower. He's wearing a black gambeson, so ragged it can't be fastened anymore. It tells a story of claws, thorns, and improvised repairs. The hole in the man's hemp pants reveals a scraped knee. It's hard to tell his age through his exhausted, sleepy eyes. A short, unkempt beard and a bandage horizontally covering his ears and the spot that used to be his nose. There's clotted blood in his brown hair, and mud on his clothes and brown neck. Despite all this, he's of a huge shell with wide shoulders and thick legs. He straightens up. "So, the warden, you new to the job?" "Pretty new. Well, new here, but I know what I'm doing." "No pass would prepare you for this shit place. Nights are all 8 piss and blood. Just before sunrise, a bird tried to pluck my eye. This gate here," he kicks a brick with his heel, "is older than me. All there," he points behind him with his wagon, "wilds and beasts. My tribe built this place to keep them away from us, and us from them." He scratches the bandage on his cheek. "Name's Quintus, from Old Pegasus. Been there?" "Not yet." "So you don't know. It's west from here, behind the crossroads, but it's touched by sickness. We used to send one soul here every morning and escort them back before nightfall. Days ago, no one came for me. I spent a night here. Sneaking wolf shits almost got me." He picks up an almost empty water skin from behind a parapet and takes a sip. "I went home by myself, only to learn about the sick. I've been here ever since." Oh boy. "What do you know about the plague?" "Not much. It kills. That's all there is to know. My tribe's smart, locking the gate. The rite gave them strength." "Shouldn't you look for a real shelter?" He trembles. His eyes widen. "Someone has got to stay at the gate. The villages in the east don't know about the illness. They may try crossing the woods, hit the closed gate while fleeing some wolves and stuff." He rubs his dirty neck. "And I also can't leave the gate open. It's like a dam for monsters. If all I can do is choose the way I die, this is it, with my duty fulfilled." "You could at least spend the nighttime in one of the villages." He adjusts his jacket by shaking his shoulders, making the buckles jingle. "I'm not a beggar, and the villages in the north won't help me for more than a day or 2. I've got no dragon bones, just this little ibex." He passes his crossbow. "Old Pagos is by itself. We don't look for kind folks." He thinks for a moment. "I'll just wait. I'll get back home once the plague's done, or before winter." You look at his disfigured face. He may be a bit too proud, but he knows more about the locals than I do. He glances at Haas. "You understand, I'm sure. Wardens are souls of duty." "I'm surprised you survived for this long." "Well, You can call it surviving. I call it potions. His chuckle makes him wince in pain. He puts a hand on his stomach and leans away. Beast took me for easy prey, but the good monks from the mountains equipped our guards well. They're helping our ill, but used to brew all sorts of stuff. His hand moves to an earthenware bottle by his belt. About this gate. Here, see? He points at the long twisting rope that hangs from an iron hook. I could climb down and remove the beam from the other side. You'll take down yours. You need at least 3 hours to get through the woods. He touches his stomach and takes a deep breath. But I need you to give me aught first. What do you want? I'm hungry. Bring me some rations, maybe. Dried meat, apples, nuts, maybe. He sizes you up. 5 meals, then I'll help you with the gate. Oh, I don't even want through anymore. Don't you have any time to hunt? Time? But I've got to stay near the gate. I can't keep people waiting while I track deer. He touches the bandage on his face. And if I die, there will be no keeper left. You can just forage for... shoot some birds with a crossbow. Surely they land on this wall. I'm not much of a shot, really. He scratches his right arm. I'd rather save my arrows for all the beasts and stuff. You can just forage for nuts and berries. I eat berries and sorrel every day, but this isn't real food, and I've got to fight off all the snakes and badgers. Nuts are nowhere around. Too many squirrels, rats, and boars. He licks his lips at the very thought. I found some acorns, but I had never roasted them before. They may make me sick. Let's see. Well, quick save here. I'll go with you. I take the trophies. You get meat for roasting. But goblins and trolls can smell the burning fat. Roasting is the opposite of what I should do. Well, let's do that. See if we can get him some quarrels. I can get you some quarrels. They'll fix your problem for longer. His eyes widen, but then his lips form an annoyed grimace. He spits on the ground and sighs. Shit, Warden, forget it. I'll find out on my own. I don't want to give him my food. It's too much food. It's more food than I actually have. Do you know Eudosha, the enchantress? I was wondering if you could place us in your tower for her. You unpack and show him the rod, lighter than it looks. He says quietly, and I know Eudosha. She always does aught weird. She was a quiet kid, but a smart one. Never tried to steal my milk. He hands it back to you and puts on an unpleasant smirk, but I'm doing naught for free. Let me guess. Dude! I don't have that much food. Bring me 7 rations, some tasty ones. My people won't be happy that I'm doing favors for a dissenter. I don't mean you. He clears his throat after seeing your look. I better get strong before I start making excuses, no? Alright, some time ago, a few people from Creeks left their home to hunt. Have you met them? I know not about people, but I met Vishal. Vishal, it takes him a few breaths to notice you're waiting for him to go on. They spent one night at this tower with me. Came from there. He points at the woods in the east. And they went back there. They were building a trap somewhere behind the lake. They shared a partridge with me, but never came back here again. Good soul. Very open-eyed. What can you tell me about the road behind the gate? Oh, not much. His chuckle turns into a cough. It leads through lowlands, mostly woods, and some ponds. It's dark and lethal. He mentions tales of ghosts, dragons, fogs, and blood mages. But whenever you ask about any creature in particular, his response is vague and brief. The tribes abandoned this path. Ever since the war, the trade has been slow. People refuse to patrol it. The plants are getting taller. But for at least a few more seasons, it's still a shortcut. It's good that you have a mount. If aught chases you, always stay close to the pass and ride as fast as you can. If no one uses this road, why are you here? He scowls at you. Not no one. It's where people hunt for monsters, and every few days I have to open it for reasons. What's it like to live in Old Pagos? He opens his mouth, giving you a puzzled look, then lets out a weak chuckle. What am I to say? We've got rocks. He taps the wall. And make houses, bowls, tools. We sell them too. We grow oats and broad beans. Ebixes give us wool and skins for monks. What do you call it? The one you write on? He moves on when you mention parchment. Yeah. It's a good place. Beautiful. Old. Hill. That's what Pagos means. Old hill. When you bring up the monastery, his eyes get brighter. Good people. They came here on a mission, teaching us Right's book. My grandparents were pagans, you know, but we now follow the river of truth. We keep to ourselves, but help others when they need us. Oh, man. I've heard about some bandits. Were they bothering you? He scratches the bandage on his cheek. I only know there's one band somewhere, but not around. I never saw them. Why are you afraid of Glacia? He straightens up and gives you a long look. I don't know who you're talking about. Okay. I'm looking for Asterion. That's nice, but he hasn't been here in many days. You sure he's not dead? After you admit that he very much may be, he puts a hand on his waist. Well, better get ready to split open every dragon belly in the wilds. Did he often travel through the woods? Sure, though on a different mount. He had a saurian, 4 abexes long, 2 abexes tall. It moves on 4 legs and jumps high and far. It's dark green, like rotting leaves. That one time, I was taking a piss in the shrubs, and Asterion made the beast run up the rock face, and it jumped on that. He points at the hill. And, like, they ran above the wall and landed on the other side, just like that. He snaps his fingers. His voice and eyes gain new vigor. You say the saurian was large and green? I mean, not everywhere. He points at his eyebrows. He has red scales here and on the tail, and shoulders, I think? I don't know what to call it. You ask him for a bit about Asterion, but he has little to add. There used to be 6 of us, keepers. We saw him every now and then, but not that often. Okay, but seriously, you're tempting the forest. You need to seek shelter. Nah, he waves it off with a smile. But once he speaks, his voice cracks. And where would I go, anyway? Foggy's place is not that far. Maybe for ye, but her tavern is already full. I'd have even less space there than I have in this tower. He gives you a long look. I could spend some time with Pelt's crew again, but I can't afford to stay from now until spring. Unless they're looking for a pair of hands, I better stay here. Let's return to this later. He looks around, startled by a bird. Well, we can't go east, currently. Some time. Let's... You know, actually, before we get too far into it, I think I'm going to stop there for today. I think we're going to go... I hope we have time. It says 4 hours. I'm hoping we have time to explore here and check this out. Hopefully not go too far, and then still make it to Creeks or Foggy Lake. Because I think we'd kind of be in between Howler's Dell and there. So hopefully it doesn't take too much. But anyway, let's open this. I guess I can't save right there. So we'll quick save, and we'll do a full save. And yeah, we will call it there for today, and I will be on at 5 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. And we'll do some more exploring, hopefully open up more of the map. We still need to find those hunters, and we need to find Asterion. We need to get more information up to Creeks. So we need to go to Creeks too. So we'll make do. But anyway, thanks for hanging out, and we will see you tomorrow.